Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, we're here today to have a conversation with Julie Schumer. Julie is a exhibitor with Redwood Art Group. She's been exhibiting with us for, gosh, quite a few years.
Almost 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, because I think the first fair that you did with us was it Santa Fe or was it San Diego?
It was San Diego in 2016 at the last minute.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I remember. Um,
Uh-huh.
and it's been so much fun watching your how your artwork has evolved,
Mm.
um, how you have evolved as an artist, but also, and what I really want to talk to you about today is how your business has grown. And and give us some insight into that, if you would. Where did you start? How did you do that? What was your inspiration? All of that
Uh-huh.
good stuff.
Well, I started painting as an adult in the year 2000. That's when I went back to painting. I had been a child painter through high school. And then, of course, was steered into the direction of not being an artist. And I was a lawyer instead for a long time. And so I started painting we moved to Santa Fe in I think 2002. And you know, the art scene was very different then. And I seem to remember the first gallery that I got into, they'd put out a call for women artists for they wanted to have a little show. And they were like a little tiny gallery, not even in the main area, but I thought, wow, this could be great. And so I took my stuff down there. People weren't really doing this online, and there was, of course, no social media. And so they put me in the show, and then, I had other shows with them for a while, and that was kind of the start. And then I got into a gallery on Canyon Road due to my former spouse getting in there, and they came to our house to look at the work, look at his work, and they saw these figures on paper I had done that were hanging in the hallway. And the gallery owner said, "Oh, I really like those." And so I said, "Well, why don't you try them out?" And so she said, "Okay." And she hung them in the gallery bathroom at first. That was my first location. Yep, at Selby Fleetwood, I was in the bathroom. And after she sold about five of them, I got graduated to a spot over a fireplace in one of the rooms of this gallery. It was an old adobe building that was kind of divided into little rooms. And I was there for the next 15 years in that very spot, selling those figures. And
Right.
finally, they retired. And they retired at the same time as I retired from being a lawyer, which meant I could devote 100% of my time to my art business. I mean, I had done it, before that, but I was never able to gain enough traction due to the lack of time. As
Yes.
hard as I worked, it wasn't hard enough. And then, of course, COVID happened right then, which
Oh,
gave me even more time to put this all together. And I had been doing workshops in person for a while, and we were not going to be able to do that during the COVID time. So I immediately filmed some online workshops and put them out there. I took a class on how to do that, and I finished my first online course at the same time I finished the how-to course. And and I kind of kept going from there. So I kind of built both side by side.
well, and I think that the things that you do in your social media, Julie Schumer Artist, I think are terrific because it really gives people a window in. I
Mhm.
talk a lot about, what social media is. And I think that if you're using social media effectively as an artist, it is exactly that. It's a window in. It's a
Mhm.
little bit of a window into you personally.
Right.
So it is a little bit of even lifestyle,
A
um,
little bit.
and how you live and where you live and those
Uh-huh.
things. But it's also, here's my art. And I
Right.
think that that's what engages people.
Well,
because
it
now they know
does.
something about you besides liking the art.
They do. And, the other day, actually, I don't often put myself, I've never shown my house or anything like that. But I bake stuff for my workshops, and I'm starting the workshop season like on September 17th. So, and I have like three here, and then I have two away. So I thought, you know what? I think I'll film myself baking these brownies. It's a great recipe. People will think it's different, and it could be fun. So I did this on Labor Day and put that out there, and it already has a lot of views. And it was a nice, different way to present the idea of come to a workshop, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We'll have brownies and you
we'll
can
have
pick.
brownies. Or you might have triple berry crumble bars a different day, or you might have, lemon bars, whatever it is. But I thought that was just something different. And as you will remember, before Art Santa Fe, which was most recently, I thought, well, how can I present myself and do something different that will attract some attention, but not be like salesy and all that? And so I decided I was going to show each of like five outfits that I had selected as potential outfits to wear during the fair and see what, have people vote on them. And that got a ton of attention.
That's great. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
it was a ton. But I've had sort of a strategy about this that I kind of started in the beginning, that I've kind of adhered to, which I think is important to do. Which first is I've only chosen a couple of platforms to be on. You cannot do all of this. It's just impossible. So I've had my best success with Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I've put a number of little short videos of me painting, little video clips from bigger videos on the YouTube channel, which entices people to take an online or an in-person workshop. I don't use the YouTube so much to sell paintings as I do for, to show that people should take an online workshop, usually. Instagram has been good for my dual goal of attracting collectors, galleries, decorators, designers in that group, and attracting potential workshop clients, you know. But I have spent a lot of time figuring out who am I marketing to? What are the specific details about those two groups so that I'm not marketing in a void.
How do you do that?
Well, I take very careful note of who comes to my workshop. Who are the people inquiring? What are they like? I look at their Instagram feeds and see what they're all about. Okay. What galleries have contacted me? What decorators or designers have contacted me? Who do I know who's followed me? I try and keep tabs on the specific demographics of the people that make up those two groups. For
Okay.
example, are they men? Are they women? Are they young? Are they old? Are they middle-aged? Are they professionals? Where do they hang out, both literally and online? How sophisticated are they? How educated are they? Where do they like to eat out? All these little things make up your ideal client. And it's hard to know who those people are in the beginning, which is why you have to collect data and keep track of the data and know who's bought my paintings. There's a common thread, you
Mhm.
know, and you take note of that. Because if you don't do that, you're just putting posts out there and you don't know it's for no good reason. You have to be
So
able.
what you're saying is you literally, if somebody responds, if somebody makes a comment, you look to
I
see
look them up.
yeah,
No, that is a time-consuming occupation for sure.
yeah,
But, a lot of times, let's say I'm working on a painting and I'm struggling and I'm, not happy. So I'll take 10 minutes and look at my Instagram feed and see if I can get any more data, and then I go back to the painting or whatever
yeah,
it was I was doing. So it kind of gets mixed in to, everyday life, you
yeah.
know?
It's kind of like taking a little break and going over
Uh-huh.
there and peering and seeing what you
Yeah.
can find.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I've been a consistent poster since probably 20, I don't know when Instagram started, 2014 maybe?
Okay.
I forget when they even started, but since the beginning. I was lucky to have a daughter-in-law who was interested in helping me and led the way on that. And she was a very hard taskmaster. And I was always being required to come up with all these little videos, photos, you name it. I mean, every day I was doing something, but it helped. And then she would put these reels together. But the biggest thing we did was I showed myself doing something. I mean, it's one thing to post up a painting and say, oh, this is available. That's kind of boring and it doesn't get a whole lot of attention. But even if I showed my hand demonstrating like a mark making tool, or I showed 5 seconds of me painting on my painting wall, those kind of posts got a lot of traction you know. I'm sure the baking one that I just put up like 2 days ago is going to get a lot more than it already has. Um, and sometimes we would post me up talking about a particular topic, for like 20 seconds or something or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
All those kind of posts got a lot of activity. I was not one to post up. I don't have any pets anymore. They died. But I never posted up pets. I didn't post up personal things. It was always strictly art related. The only time I ever did anything personal was when I had my grandkids painting in the studio. And, they were when I had them on like large unstretched canvas, I did a video of them, which got like 150,000 views.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like there's different sizes of whisks that you use in cooking. So I had a really tiny one and I did a little painting with this whisk, 65,000 views. I wasn't even in it, just my hand was in it,
That's fabulous.
you
Well, and
know?
I think that that's that kind of action that engages people. It
Right.
also it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. It gives this little window in. How does she do that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the other day, or maybe it was last week, I had a post. I had taken a hair dryer and I was drawing part of this large commission painting.
I
It was
saw
like
that.
48 by 84. And so that has gotten a lot of views. Just me holding a hair dryer and drawing the painting.
Yeah,
Something as simple as that.
yeah. And I think that what you're doing is you're giving people a reason to come back.
Right.
What's she doing now?
And
Uh,
it's in my poster, they're all consistent. I show up in the same way, consistently. If you want to look at my feed, you know what you're going to get. So people who like that are going to show up.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think keeping do you I bet you do. Do
Right.
you have statistics in terms of how many of those people that have been engaged in your whichever social media platform that have then become clients, that have then become collectors or have taken a workshop?
A lot. I can't say specifically numbers, but I would say, especially in the workshop arena, a lot. That's my main way that I get people to come. That and my email list,
Okay.
the two ways. Because the end game for this whole thing is to get interested parties off of Instagram and onto your email list. Because if Instagram were to go poof in the night, what would you have left? You
Yeah.
know, you would have no
Yeah.
access to all those people that you spent 10 years building up the following. You know what I mean? So I would say when you look at it that way, I would say 100% of my clientele come from the email list, 90% of which have come from social media.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it been worthwhile? Yeah, for sure. You
Yeah.
know,
But I
that's
but I think that what I'm hearing kind of over and over from you is that you're very consistent with it.
mhm.
You're there, if not every day, you're there multiple times a week,
Yes.
and the posts are varied. So it's not always
Mhm.
the same thing during
No.
the week. It might be the evolution of a painting, like that big piece you were working on.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but I think that that's what gets people to come back also.
Right, right, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't really do that much advertising. I have done some, but I have found in recent times that it is not overly successful. And I've tried it multiple different ways, and it just doesn't seem to be worth the money, honestly. I think consistent posting is better.
Do you ever boost your posts?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Boosting them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it hasn't really gained me a lot. In the beginning, it seemed to gain more followers and all that. But in this day and age, I would say less so.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
say less so. I mean, it does cost a lot more to do it than it used to. So if you want to have that be one of your strategies, I think you have to think hard about what you're going to do advertising wise, what you're going to boost, which post.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, finding out a little bit, doing some of that
Hmm.
testing of,
Yeah,
and seeing how many likes you get, how many
right.
additional followers you get for particular kinds of posts,
Mhm.
then that can give you absolutely some statistics about, okay, this is the kind of one that maybe I should boost. Or
Right.
if I'm doing a show or I'm
Yeah.
doing a fair, um, and I want to bring in a new audience, then
Hmm.
maybe that's the one that I post.
Right, right. Definitely. And another thing about, all of these social media situations is you don't really necessarily know the nature and extent of who's looking at your posts because
That's
not everybody checks like, not everybody follows you. For example, I think it was in 2023, I sold a number of paintings on Instagram, for people who contacted me from Instagram, who I didn't know them at all. They were not followers. Their names were not familiar to me as having liked a lot of my posts. Okay. And then I looked them, of course, I Googled them, these people, and they all fit a certain category. They all had their own businesses, successful businesses. A couple of them were men, a couple of them were women, but they fit a pattern.
yeah. Well, and then that gives you some clues. If
Yeah.
you're going to boost something,
Yes.
boost it to that demographic.
Exactly. So when you have the opportunity to create the group that you want Instagram to show your post to, you have to be very careful about what you choose. And the choices are pretty, they're detailed. You can really get down to the nitty-gritty of people in the categories of what they let you pick,
Yeah. Hmm.
not just geographic. So yeah, I would say that I've tried to be very strategic about how I go about this because it's all a colossal consumption of time, you
Yes. Yeah.
know. And you
Yeah.
have to be willing to, plod along with it over time.
Well, and I think that, the example you gave of, yes, it is a big commitment of time, but if you can take it in almost like little bites,
Right.
uh, and whether those bites are depending on how you like to organize your day,
Hmm.
um, maybe they're at the beginning of the day because you're going to do a workshop, or you at the beginning of the day because you're doing a show or a
Right.
fair, or maybe you're doing it from the show.
Yeah.
um, and so, depending on how your day is or how you like to work. I know some artists like to do all of their marketing and their business stuff first thing in the morning. They do it,
I'm in that camp.
okay, cup of coffee and sitting down and doing
Right.
all that business, sitting at the
Yeah.
desk kind of stuff. And then you're free to work on your art and other things
Hmm.
the rest of the day. Others like to go right into the studio and get really busy and
Hmm.
then kind of, wind down from that and sit down at the desk. So
Right.
however you do it, I think that the point is it's got to be done.
It's got to be done. And
Got to be done. And
yeah.
so the trajectory, tell us how you built your followers from really when you got so immersed in it at the beginning of
Mhm.
the pandemic to now? Where are you?
Right now, I went from about maybe I had, I'm trying to think, maybe 2,500 followers at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe 3,000, something like that. Now I'm at 71,000, and I have been static for a while, and I'm not clear exactly why, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I have a very engaged group of people, and I have a very engaged email list. I get a lot of responses to my emails that I send out. And what I try to do in both the posts and the email trafficking is to provide some kind of value, either showing a technique, talking about a tool, talking about some psychological concept with painting, some business topic. It's not just, oh, look at me, I did this painting. It's something of value that people will make them want to open up that email and actually read it and then comment back to me. So I
Yeah,
think that's really important. I think a lot of people don't take that step to do
yeah.
that, to make it be
Well, it's just information
meaningful.
out. There's no request for some information in,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that um, uh, ask, it's really just asking, and
Hmm.
and you'd be surprised how much information you might get back.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I basically built the following with the consistent posting, consistent and frequent,
Mhm.
and providing something of value. I had, for example, various lead magnets that I wrote before AI was a thing. I mean, I actually wrote them that are still being downloaded today, 5 years later.
Good.
People like them.
Yeah,
Um, and that helps a lot too. But you have to set yourself apart from people somehow. You have to find some quality about you that makes you different enough to be of interest to somebody else. Like, for example, the workshops I do here in Santa Fe, they're unique because they're only three people at a time. Now, who in their right mind would do a workshop for only three people? Okay. I mean, it's not the most remunerative thing to do, but it's fine for me. It's okay. I'm good with it. And it gets people in there, and we have a lot of fun.
well, and I think that that's part of it, and that comes across um,
Hmm.
in your posts, and it comes across in your emails, is that you're enjoying what you're doing, and
Very much.
and I think that that makes it fun for people
Uh-huh.
that are engaged with you. And I'm
Right.
sure that your workshops, every time I see one of your emails and an announcement of a workshop, I think, oh, that would be really fun to do.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, it just so happens that the studio I'm in right now is a little space limited. I can't have 10 people in there. But I wouldn't anyway, because that's not my share of the market, okay? Other people can do that, not me. And I don't care about the share of the market that's like what I would call tourist painting here in Santa Fe, where people come for 3 hours and they do a fake Van Gogh or something like that. I'm looking at my market share is the serious artist who wants to improve their skills.
Mhm. Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Yeah. And I think that that's hard to find.
Actually, it's easier than you think
Okay.
because there's so many people like me who had a profession, a career, and, wanted to paint but didn't really have the time. And then they retired or more time became available and they want to learn how to do it. And most people of that ilk are impatient. They want to learn it now. And so they'll take 100 workshops so they can learn it. I'm serious,
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
especially during the
Kind of like,
pandemic.
well, I did this other thing, but now I really, really, really want to do this.
Yes.
And I'm in. I'm
And I
100%.
want to be a success today. Okay. I don't want to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
you've got the workshop season kind of coming,
uh-huh.
but besides that, what's on the horizon?
Well, at this very moment, I'm in art on paper in New York. this weekend. So we'll see what comes of that. I'm in a show that's going to be in the Bay Area coming at the end of the month. It's a mixed media collage show that's going to be in your neck of the woods in Martinez. And then I'm going to be I'm represented in a gallery in Tampa. And that person is taking the gallery to Red Dot. So I'm going to be in that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, in
That's
Drew Art
great.
Gallery. Yeah.
So, see, you don't have to be there, present at all of these fairs once you get
Oh,
into some really great galleries.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can watch it all from the comfort of your home office or your studio.
Well, Julie, listen, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I
Oh, you're
know
welcome.
that the people in our artist club are going to enjoy this video very much, and we're going to share it with our exhibitors as well and put it in our resource library. So thank you.
Great.
Very
Thank you.
valuable information.
My pleasure.